so much for your time. Thank BizBash and the folks from Connect for having me here. It's going to be a fun half hour discussing where the virtual event is taking us, actually events in general. First, let me just tell you, I'm having so much fun. There's something very unique about the crowd that comes to these events, right? We get events, we enjoy events, and we have fun doing events. So we're really, really having a good time. Thank you for hosting us. She's already done an intro. Dan is over in beautiful California. Good to see you, Dan. I'm going to start by, I'm a marketing guy, so I got to do some marketing. Besides, my boss is here. He likes when I do that. So let me talk a little bit about 6Connects. It will help you understand the perspective that we'll bring to the table here. But basically, what we do is we do events in general. We've been doing events for 12 years. We are a technology platform, and we have pretty much everything you could possibly ask to organize, run, structure, and have virtual components added to your event. We're based in beautiful San Antonio, Texas. I am based out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Our team's all over the place. We have a lot of good customers, and as any marketer worth their salt, we have a logo slide. And of course, and we have customers here who have been doing events for many, many years, like the Unilevers, the Cisco, the Salesforce, but we also have new and thriving companies like TikTok, like Box, like Ahead. These are new organizations who have just started with their event journey. And what's interesting, and this is common to this particular industry, event people like to share. Event people like to share their Rolodex. They like to share what worked. They like to share what didn't work. And we are in a very fortunate position that we can tell from our customers and share their experience with you. The things that have been working for them, the things that have not been working so well, and what we can do better. And when we looked about this presentation, we looked at this program that we have at 6Connects. We have something called a visionary program, and what that does is just share best practices. We take the experiences from all of our customers and we share with the others so that everybody learns and does better events. And we talk about everything. You can see on this graphic, we talk about sponsorship, we talk about marketing, we talk about how to make events more fun and gamification. We talk about networking and hybrid components. And as you can see, the top here is engagement. What is events if we're not able to engage? Engage with one another, engage with content, engage with brands, engage with ideas. And that's the majority of what our customers are interested in. So we thought it would make sense for us to come in here and share the experience that our customers have had with engagement and where that is going. So with that in mind, let me just tell you, we all know this. The events industry has changed, right? We've changed a little bit. As I was packing for this event, I realized that my jackets didn't fit me anymore. They shrunk. Apparently when you don't use them, they shrink. I had to buy a new one. I just realized that because I had the label here, that the lady was nice enough to tell me in the back, you still have the label here. Thought I'd say that. But what has happened to events is that, first thing, we're seeing less people come to physical events. Not on this space. We like this, right? We come to events. But if you look at the corporate teams, they are a little bit more limited to travel. CFOs, are there any CFOs here? I just want to be safe. CFOs are interesting. They get used to managing with less budget. So 2020, they spent nothing in travel. 2021, they spent very little in travel. What do you think is going to happen to the 2022 budget? It's not going to go back immediately, right? It's going to take some time. So we are seeing that corporate accounts, especially, are not bringing the same level of participants to an event. On top of that, as I just mentioned, we have all changed a little bit, right? Some don't fit into our jackets, but we all got used to the virtual component. That's what we do, right? Well, how many Zoom meetings did you have in the last 24 months? Countless, right? And we got used to it. It's normalized. It's part of our life. Is this going to change? Not likely, right? Not likely. And then we all got a little bit lazy. Well, I don't know if lazy is the word, but we got used to on demand. That's how we see our content, right? That's how we see what we want to be entertained with. And that's what people on the events industry are doing. So the event may be Monday and Tuesday, but you know what? I'm going to set time on Friday morning to watch this event. So for me, the event's going to be on demand. This happened to all of us. Does anybody disagree? I think we're good, right? But it's great to be doing events now. And the main reason for that is that event planners have never had more tools to play with. Over the last 2 years, organizations like SixConnects have developed more technology than they have on the previous 5 years. The whole industry has developed so much new stuff. So when you think about putting together an event today, you have so many more tools to play with and organize and deliver your goals, your objectives, right? And I was talking to some people who came to our booth. Our booth is right there, by the way. And they were saying, back in 2019, how many competitors did you have? Because I remember there was this, and that. And you're right. In 2019, we probably had maybe 10 competitors. Right now, over 100 of competitors. And they all have their unique new thing. So a lot more tools to play with. And then what we're seeing now is that these event producers, event planners, are leveraging all these tools to make for a lot more interesting events and a lot more driven to specific goals. You're now capable of doing that. Let's expand on that a little bit. So because we have all these cool tools, all these new things to play with, we are seeing some trends. The first trend we're seeing, it's very, very clear. People are trying to take the experience that we have in an event and expand it over time. So let me give you an example with this event. One of the things that we're seeing our customers do is you have this wonderful event in Puerto Rico. It happens on this last 2 days or 3 days. What do? On the very first or 2 weeks prior to this, you kind of do a warm-up. You invite your VIPs, your sponsors, your speakers, and you get excitement. You get PR on that event. The event hasn't happened yet. You do all this virtually. And then you run the event, like we're running the event here. And then, is the event over? Well, if you want it to be, yeah, but why don't you take the best speaking engagements that you had and promote them for the next week? So you keep on that environment, you keep the activity that you guys had, you keep the groups that you've built, you keep all the networking into one single place, and you're running a session next week or next 2 weeks with a on-demand content. But then you bring your speakers for Q&A. So you do on-demand content and speakers are doing Q&A the following week. How exciting is that? We're keeping up with the same community, we're keeping up with the same activity that you guys had, and it's just ongoing. And guess what? In August 8th, there is another event happening. So why don't you extend by start talking about the Detroit event? So now we took the event that was 2.5 days here, and we made it into a 6-month engagement. And I'm sure there's going to be another event towards the back end. So you just keep that going. You just keep an environment going, and it just goes for a long time. And then to help you do this, we have some very, very cool technology that is game-changing. We have Event AI. A lot of people say they have Event AI technology. But when you fill in the registration form and it says, what kind of music do you like? And you say, I like, in my case, punk rock. But if I do say that, they will group me into a group of people that like punk rock. And that's the extent of it. Well, there's a lot more to it, right? There is smarter technology, the kind of technology that helps us buy stuff on Amazon, choose the videos that we want to watch on Netflix, and they recommend stuff because they know our history. They know what you've been doing. They kind of follow you through this, and they start recommending stuff to you. This is true event technology. They are watching what you do. They are interacting with that. The algorithm is seeing that, and they're recommending new stuff. That makes it very personal. So remember the environment that doesn't exist, but we could, in extending this event, we could be applying event AI to say, you know, John spoke to this person and to that person. There is a good match for this third person that he hasn't met. Let me recommend him to get to know him. He is looking for venues. Here are 3 people, 3 sponsors that do venues that he hasn't connected with. Let me recommend he meets these people. So it becomes a very, very personal experience driven by algorithm. So that is quite unique. Just about to finish, I have 3 recommendations that we hear from people who have been in the industry for very, very long. Let me just say, I mentioned an example of rethinking what an event can look like. What I do see is some event planners still concerned about technology. Now, we really don't know. I heard this very, very wonderful sentence today. Someone came to me and she asked me, so what is the volume that you're putting on virtual versus physical? I love that, right? It kind of made me think about stereo sound and how you balance your sound. So how much components you're adding for virtual on your in-person event, or the other way around, which I thought was quite interesting, that people are starting to think in these terms. I think that's really the secret of rethinking the way you're structuring your events, right? Just get creative. Just don't be afraid of technology. There are so many cool technologies around. There are a couple of vendors here that you should definitely talk to and understand what it is that they offer. I think there's a lot of stuff that you may not have considered that addresses specific needs. And finally, partner with partner with companies that can help you achieve your goals and your objectives. There are quite a few of those around. And it's with that I bring a partner to come and present. And we were talking about how different events are. Does anyone here thought about bringing someone remotely from California to Puerto Rico in 2018 to do a presentation? In 2018, we were just very scared of doing that, right? The risks of it not working right were huge. Now we are a lot more comfortable. Let me knock on wood. Now we're a lot more comfortable, and we can bring Dan August, who is the Vice President of Strategy and Ticketing at the LA Rams, who we partnered with back in August of last year. And he's got this great idea for an environment. At that time, they were on that journey. They were also playing for the Super Bowls, and they were doing quite well. I don't know if you guys know how that finished up, but I'll let you tell them. Dan, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay? You can hear me?
Yes.
Great. So I think to Luiz's point, I'm the fool who passed up a trip to Puerto Rico. So I don't know if that speaks to the laziness that Luis was talking about, but in 2018, no one was that foolish. Now people are. But yeah, no, it's been an amazing journey of a season, and I think the event journey is something that we are on as well. So we're still in the process, and I don't think anyone's ever complete with it. But I think to Luis's point about the live events versus virtual, in our world, we are still happy to have people at live events. So we definitely have 10 events a year where they are live, but part of this journey was how do you extend that? How do you make it so that engagement is more than just those 10 days or more than just a conference that people are attending? So really just thought leaders and partners that we really felt simpatico with as we kind of went through it. But I'll take you through a few slides, just kind of where our thinking was when we first met with the Six Connects folks and where we're at right now. So I'd say the pandemic for us, I think, as a sport that is in person, obviously we were used to those 10 games a year. That was where our focus was. And the other 355 days weren't the most important days to us. We really benefit from that. So we have season ticket members. That's where we generate a lot of our revenue. We have television revenue as well. So obviously people not in person are still important to us, but we really were more about the in-person event. During the pandemic, we lacked that. So we were kind of in a place where how do we form that one-to-one connection with folks? And we realized that even when they were back in the stands, we wanted to continue some of that. So we built up things that we were doing during the pandemic, and we realized, hey, you could be doing that during a away game. We could do that during the 355 days that you don't have home games. And it was just a matter of what worked and what didn't work well at the time, and what we thought would really continue post-pandemic. And I think we're still learning because we're still in it to a degree. But we'll see in the years to come. But you need to try a bunch of different things as you go along to make sure that you keep that engagement going, so that you're not just certain events and you're not just live, because we are in such an on-demand world. I think on the next slide, we have some of the things we went through. So we realized, hey, just having our website and apps, digital offerings, great content, but less community engagement. So during the pandemic, when we really wanted to come together as people were stuck at home, we wanted to bring them together like our game days typically do. And we were trying to find ways to do that. We tested it out on social platforms. We started a season ticket member Facebook group. We have 4,800 people on there. It was a great starting point for us. We saw engagement. We saw the good and the bad of Facebook, as I think everyone knows, of what you can see on social media platforms. But we did see nuggets of what we thought would be great for us. We also had a second screen experience. So during our home and away games, we had a platform that we were using, not on a social media platform, and a lot of it was just around chat. We'd have some quizzes, we'd have some games, just to have people engage. While they were stuck at home, they couldn't have the banter that you enjoy during a sporting event. And that's one where we realized on home games, we have that. People are in the stadium, they have that engagement. For away games, yes, some people get together, but there's plenty of people just watch by themselves. They're locked in, or they don't want to go to the bar, they're not into that scene. And how can we keep up with that? How can we connect those folks to really get to know other folks, Rams fans that live, whether it's in Puerto Rico and California and New York? We wanted a chance to really connect those folks and get to know other Rams fans near them. And our current platforms weren't serving that need for us. So as we kind of clicked forward, it was, how do we create a virtual environment that does this for us? So like I said, the Facebook group was great for us. But there were the pros and cons. Some people don't want to join Facebook. There's probably people in the room. If I were there, I'd do a show of hands, but no use in some virtual anyway. But we have people who said, I don't want to join Facebook. It's not my scene. I don't want to create a profile. I'm 60, I'm 70 years old. I don't need that. And we have a fan base that's all different ages, ethnicities, you name it, we have it. So we wanted to create a virtual environment that really brought people together in a Rams environment. So not on someone else's platform that was branded Facebook all over the place, but rather something that felt like it was connected to the Rams. We also wanted to have something that almost had an inner circle. So our season ticket members are our lifeblood. They pay a significant amount of money to be with us for our 10 home games a year, and like this year, playoff and Super Bowl run. But that for us was, how do you create an inner circle where those folks can be connected above and beyond just folks who are generally fans. We wanted to really enhance that relationship. So how do we take the relationship that we have with them that at times can feel transactional, of we take the money, and really build it into something where we were giving them more throughout the year, and we were letting them connect with each other. I think I said it to Luiz when we first met. It's when people are connected in our world and season ticket member world, it's tougher to leave. It's easier to leave a brand or a company. It's tougher to leave friends that you create in your season ticket member field. And we have so many people who have gotten to know people at the games, but how do you extend that so you can stay connected and you can meet people who don't just sit behind you or next to you, but how do you meet the people who sit 20 sections over who you would normally never meet on a game day, but it turns out they live a few blocks away and they're a massive Rams fan, or your kids at the same age. So we wanted to really build on those relationships because we know sports can serve as that piece that connect a lot of folks where there's so many other differences. Sports can be that great connector that it doesn't cross lines that people don't want to speak about normally in the workplace, or at least back in the day did not. And for us, really, like I've said, it's how do you take the experience beyond the stadium and bring it anywhere? So the virtual piece to us is that 365-day connection versus just during the live events. Because live events can be costly, as you guys know. And for us, we just have the 10 game days, and it's tough to always do other events in person and really scale it for us, which is a difficult thing. We can't do 270,000 person events throughout the year. Otherwise, we'd go broke and I'd probably lose my job. But we'll think about it for next year. So, as we click forward, like some of the elements that we were thinking about. So, a season ticket member hub, like I talked about, a gated area where they can just connect with each other. Chat room functionality, like we saw in our second screen experience during the pandemic. How do you get people to chat with each other who they sit near you, they live near you, or just on an away game and you're not at the stadium, or you're just fans and you can't be at a home game? How do you chit chat during the game and get to know folks? The matchmaking piece, like Luis said, how do you use some of the AI to really connect people who have similar interests, live in similar places, either in the stadium or at home? How do you do more virtual events? So I think we all experienced the Zoom meetings, Teams meetings, Google Hangouts. I think I probably have every app downloaded on my phone. But having something that's a bit more Rams branded. So it's great to send someone a Zoom link and we invite 1,000 fans to come chat with our coach. But if it was more Rams branded, it would just feel nicer. We're really pushing our brand on folks, which is what we want as a growing brand. How do you feed in some of our content? So while we want to create a virtual environment, we don't necessarily want to take people away from the content that they get from Rams social media platforms or from our app or our website. So how do you make sure that stuff is in there as well? And we're pushing out. So we're not taking away our views. Instead, we're enhancing our website views. And then how do you get some of the data from our fans? So we know pieces about them, but how do we get more? And that's part of the matchmaking features. You input data about yourself, you can connect with others. It also helps us get to know our fan base a little better. So we can hopefully program a little better. We can ask them questions that are like, hey, what gifts do you prefer? What live events do you prefer? And then the game day second screen. So we saw success with that. It wasn't for all of our fans, but for that core group of fans, the more avid group, how do you serve as a place for them to have the second screen and get to know one another? So what we created is something that is, the branding is amazing. I say this about the 6connects teams. The creatives there are phenomenal. Our creative team here gave them a brand book, gave them the sense of it, but they really brought this all to life and envisioned it more so than we could have. So kind of have a look at what looks like SoFi Stadium, a Rams complex that is much nicer than our office here. I wish it was like that. A lake that is like our stadium. We have a lake outside of our stadium. Draft house, which is some folks may have seen. We did our draft in the Hollywood Hills. So really trying to tie this into our brand, which is super important to us. So the team created this. This serves as the landing page. People log into the virtual Rams house, as we call it. And this is the first place they go. And they can click, they can get a tour guide, as it says there. And our radio voice, JB Long, walks them through it. They can enter the Rams complex. This is a little nicer. I wish that was my office space. So I'm going to talk to the designers, but they can click to a few places. There's a film room, which is where you have live events. There's fan caves, which is where people can chat with others in their sections. That's really the season ticket member area. There's a community room, which you'll see an image of, which is just a general chat. It looks like you're at the stadium. And there's still more to come. I mean, the draft house just came out. We're really in the learning phase. We're hopefully launching something with our alumni players as well. It's like a Rams museum. So for us, we're really in phase one. We wanted to get something live because for us, it's test and learn. How do you see what the avid fans like and expand from there? So get the feedback loop. And for us, it's how do you build up into the season? Because the season is where we have our most active fans, and then we can take them into the off season. But we at times launch things in the off season just to begin that. It's almost like the beta version of things. So we can start it before we have 1 million plus eyeballs on us for big games when we kick off the season on Thursday Night Football. So click you through a couple other images. So this is the film room. So to Luis's point, we will have live sessions. We had one a few weeks ago with our team president, Kevin Demoff, our GM, Les Snead, really talking to our fans, giving them snippets of what's to come, talking about getting ready for the draft, free agency. And then we go to the on-demand video. So we've seen this, and what we had during the pandemic even is we would try to do so many live events, and we started seeing it tail off. What we realized is when we put those on demand, the views were amazing, but we were judging ourselves so much by the live views, which was a bit of the mistake. Is some people, live is amazing. They can ask the questions, which the platform allows, and they can, if they have a burning question they want to ask our GM, you attend live. If you're someone who, hey, the time just doesn't work for you, you can still watch and see what nuggets Kevin Demoff's dropping on everyone through the on-demand video. So this gives people a chance, and I think this looks a little better than a Zoom room. Feels like you're at the Rams offices with the stadium in the background. So we're very proud of this, and what it will lead for years to come as we continue to do virtual events for all of our season ticket members and all of our fans. Almost to do the town halls that normally you have to tell certain season ticket members, no, sorry, we're capped at 1,000 people. Now we're not limited. And then this is the community area. So it seems like you're at the stadium in a nice suite. Luis said he's going to buy a few suites and really build this out in real life. So we're looking forward to that. But this is just an area where people can chat throughout different events, whether you're a season ticket member or not. We can put different information on here. It has trophy tour. We're taking the Lombardi Trophy around the LA area. So this could serve as a hub for folks where they can get news and information, get to our social channels, as well as chat with folks, or grab a virtual drink with friends while they're doing it. And we have a code of conduct. We have reporting incidents, because for us that is super important. And you see that on this page as well. Is we want to make sure our communities are kept clean, and there is a bit of self-management between our members, and they will report things. We have seen it over time to make sure it's a fun, fan-friendly environment. This is the fan cave that I hit on. So this is where season ticket members will go. They can click on their section and really get to know the people in their section. And this is one, as we build it out and really promote more and more, we'll start seeing people get to know the folks in their section throughout the year, during away games, or they can have the general chat as well. So trying to provide those options and really meet the fans where they are, which I think is something that Luiz has talked about as well. Really wanting to do what they want, and we'll keep iterating on this, and the team has been great with it.
Very good.
This is the last one we got, right?
This is great, Dan. Thank you so much. The beauty of this relationship is it's a 5-year relationship. So we've just started. There's so much more that we're going to deploy and leverage and work on. We're so proud to working with you all. They've given us a signed football. It's on our booth over there, where we'll do a drawing at the end of the day today. You guys need to stop by, give us your business card so we can try to sell to you guys. No, that was marketing about being honest, right? That was the previous presentation. But this is what we think the evolution of engagement is going, right? It's more of a perennial, continuous conversation that just goes on, like you just saw in this great example that Dan brought for us. So we left a few minutes for Q&A.
Any questions for Luiz and Dan? Yes? Can you stand up, sir?
This is the first time I'm actually seeing someone try and capitalize on something I've been talking about for a decade. So I've been burning this question, and I've never given it to another NFL team. It's going to go to you. Even though I'm born and raised a Redskin fan, it's going to go to you. It works in Washington because of the rabid fan base, and I think it'll work with you guys because of the vision you have. Football, NFL football, is a unique sport. It's different than baseball, different than basketball, largely because you play so few games. There is so much intensity into every game. You lose a baseball game, no one cares. You lose a football game, they talk about it till Wednesday in the sports pages. Why is it when you talk about capitalizing this, why do you not open the stadium on the away games to give the people that can't get a ticket in sold out places the ability to bring their kids, the ability to build that fan base and to get those young kids motivated to, when they are up making enough money where they can buy season tickets, they can actually vision what it would be like to be in this big stadium and see this, and not just see it on the amazing jumbotrons they have now, but to actually see these professional athletes playing. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think for us, this is actually an easier one because we're a 2-team stadium. So when we're not playing, our friends, the Chargers are. But to kind of answer your question more generally, like, yes, I think getting youth in there, getting people who can't always afford it right now into our stadium is a goal. So we do different events throughout the year. We did open houses leading up where we had players there. The tough thing with our stadium, it costs a lot of money to operate. So you're talking about 7 figures to operate the stadium. So you're limited in the times you do it. But we also have training camps. So we do a free and open training camp, which is a bit more lighter touch. The players more helmet off, which is also more kid friendly. You're seeing the players really getting after it. But then when it's over, they're signing autographs, they're interacting. It gives us a chance to get people on the field, get kids on the field afterwards to run and throw on the same field as the players. So it's definitely a focus area. But for us, unfortunately, for away games, we can't get people in the stadium as much as we'd like to.
Good question.
Thank you. Yes.
Hey, so what are the future ideas as far as monetizing this virtual space? I mean, is it just the season ticket holders? What does the future look like for making this a revenue stream for you guys?
Yeah, I'd say right now it's a supporting revenue stream. So it helps us keep the engagement with our season ticket members because our ticket revenue behind our television revenue is our second biggest. So this helps us retain that business, hopefully grow the business from word of mouth. As we think of a virtual environment, there are endless possibilities. So the same way we have partners who come on board in the stadium for people to test their drinks or see their cars, virtual environments can offer something similar. I mean, a lot of our sponsors want digital content. They want to be a part of a community. So if you do it in an authentic way, I think for us though, it's really build this out, build it to something that people are engaging with, build it into something we're proud of, before taking it to sponsors and just saying, hey, you can logo slap here, you can do that. Because that's when we'll quickly lose our partners. I think you saw it in a lot of the esports worlds as well. Like they really focused on building their product before it was pushing different products on everyone. We think of it the same way, is first build the engagement and then think of the monetization, because this is a supporting revenue stream for us to our ticketing business.
Luiz, what about you at Six Connects? What's the future of sales look like?
The future of?
For sales for you at Six Connects.
I think we're going to see a lot of change as we start developing events in the future. Well, this year, we already seeing some changes. 2023, there will be more components that are virtual. I think that's the major change. And we're going to start applying technology to things that today we use Excel. We're going to start incorporating, I was talking to someone today who told me, I asked, what tools do you use to plan your events? She said, Excel and Gmail. So we're going to see that going away and just combining all of that, how you manage, run, and operate events using and leveraging technology.
Yeah, great, thank you. Do you have any other questions? All right, so we're gonna take another short break and come back at 1:15 with Heather. Please give it up for Dan and Luiz.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you both.
Bye, guys.